Hi, folks. This is Abel James, and thanks so much for joining us on the #1 award-winning show, Fat Burning Man, where we talk about real food and real results. On today's episode of the show, we're going to be teaching you all about juicing. We're here with Shalena and Caleb from Young and Raw, and they teach the world how to upgrade their lives using real food and specifically lots and lots of veggies. Now, a quick announcement before we get to the show. I've been working on my new project called The Wild Diet with a few publishers right now. They're fighting over it. So hopefully by the end of the week or maybe after the next couple of weeks, I'll know exactly what I can tell you about that. But I can just say that right now I'm working with a lot of the top experts, scientists, friends, people who have made me dinner before on anecdotes and stories, as well as research to put in this massive, awesome book. And so I can't wait to tell you all the details really soon. Best way to keep in touch is to go to fatburningman.com and sign up for my email list. And I send you not only all of the updates about the Wild Diet, but also a free video course, free recipes, and lots of other freebies. Once again, that's at fatburningman.com. All you have to do is put in your email address and we'll set you right up. And another really exciting announcement about this week's guests. We actually teamed up with Young and Raw to make a new app called 14-Day Juice Challenge. This is our third app, and it's the third app in a row that's jumped up to #1, beat out Jamie Oliver, the Food Network, and a bunch of other people, ourselves actually, to hit #1 with this new app. We're really excited. Couldn't have done it without your support. So if you've already left a review, thank you so much for that. I know that we're getting a lot of cool feedback from you guys making up green smoothies, green juices, and totally getting your veggies on. So I'm glad that you guys are digging it. So once again, if you want to check out the app that we're talking about on this podcast with Young and Raw, just go to the search bar in the App Store and look up 14-Day Juice Challenge, and it should come right up. Hope you enjoy it. All right, so on to the show. We talk about the right way to juice versus the wrong way to juice, how you can get started working more veggies into your lifestyle to lose weight, improve your performance, and supercharge your health. And finally, we talk about, this is really fun. I haven't really done this before, but Caleb and I definitely see eye to eye. We talk about superfoods and cutting edge supplements that'll help you boost your testosterone, reduce stress, and much, much more. So stay tuned for that. Enjoy the show. Let's go hang out with Caleb and Shalena. All right, folks, today I'm really excited to be here with Shalena and Caleb from Young and Raw. They make one heck of a green smoothie. How's it going, guys?
Hey, thanks for having us.
I'm stoked that you're here. You guys do obviously terrific work. You have an enormous community over at Young and Raw. You have something like 300,000 plus Facebook fans, and a lot of people are really into what you do. And it doesn't surprise me one bit because, as you guys said before this interview, it's a lot more than just raw food. It's about a different way of living. So for the people who might not be familiar with what you do, the people who are just dipping their toes into this lifestyle, or maybe they're more on the paleo side or something like that, can you talk a little bit about the genesis of all of this and how you got into it?
Yeah. So, I mean, many years ago, Caleb and I started out on our own health journey together, and we started off with the raw vegan lifestyle, and that was really awakening for us. I was able to shed weight and heal some health issues with that. So it was really cool. And it was just sort of one of those things where it really allowed us to tune into our own bodies and sort of hear those messages that our body was giving. And so we decided to build Young and Raw. And really the intention with it isn't to tell anyone to go raw vegan. We actually don't promote it as a lifestyle. We promote it more as a tool for cleansing. Mm-hmm. Personally, we believe everyone should just listen to their own body and, do whatever feels right for them. So we're not really subscribing to labels, but we do a lot of, cleanses, detoxes, 30-day green smoothie challenges. We're doing juice challenges now. And we just promote eating like real whole food. So that's kind of the basis of it. And we really found that when people cleanse, it's pretty much impossible for them to eat crap again without actually feeling the results. Yeah. You can go do like a 3 or 4 day cleanse and then you go eat McDonald's and it's like you're on your ass. So it's just one of those ways for people to sort of go, oh wait, maybe that is impacting me. So that was sort of the reason that we built it.
Cool. Anything to say, Caleb? she got that one covered, huh?
Yeah, she's covered it all there. Yeah, essentially it's just, this whole thing about just getting us back in touch with real food, just like how originally evolved as human beings, getting back to the real source of fuel, the real source of nutrition. We've just gotten so far away of that, the last 100, 200 years or so, with all the processed industries, popping up here and there, and refined sugars and flours and such. And people just don't understand like the things that these do in our bodies. And they're just like, oh, new fancy food. But when you get back to the real food that grows from the ground or comes off a tree, whether you cook it or you have it raw, everything has an amazing source of nutrients that can essentially just totally reboot your health. Yeah. And we see cleanses and using raw foods as a way to essentially, like you said, reprogram your body, reprogram your taste buds, and really just dial yourself in so hey, this feels really good. And oh, this is what optimal health can feel like, right? Because most people have no idea what that feels like.
Right. There's no going back. And once you feel it, it's just like there's a jump in your step. Everyone around you notices. It's like storybook style. I'm sure you guys see that all the time. Though I wanted to talk to you guys about this because specifically cleanses and like expensive pills and boxes of things and the rest of it, that whole like cleanse detox thing kind of gets a bad rap, and rightfully so for some of the ways that it's done. It's like there's a good way to do it, and then there's the ridiculous like corporatized version of whatever the heck you buy at CVS to make your cleanse work a lot better. Now you guys mostly focus on like real food and like going back to what would have happened to humans naturally, the way that we were living in a lot of ways. So can you talk about good cleansing versus bad cleansing?
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's something that we've had to learn along the way. I mean, we have, thousands and thousands of mostly women who have actually gone through our cleanse programs. And when we first started out, we did the 21-day raw food reset, which is like, you do 14 days of raw food and then you do 7 days of juicing. Yeah. And it's all basically designed with our naturopath and our nutritionist. And we just found that, we had, I think, like 15,000 people go through that, and people did excellent. They had great results. But one thing is that they were really experiencing detox. And it really kind of woke us up to the fact that, literally, if you just go from eating a regular sad diet or, what a lot of people are eating out there these days, eating out and things like that, if you just go from that just to eating real food, you're still going to detox. Right. So we saw this trend of people saying, oh, well, I watched this documentary where this guy juiced for 90 days. I want to lose 100 pounds, so I'm going to do that too. And, there are some really dangerous cleanses out there. There's some really awesome cleanses out there too. But the thing is you got to know your body and you got to know what's okay for you, right? Like starting from, processed foods and then jumping right into a juice cleanse is probably going to be too much for your body. And if your detox pathways aren't equipped to handle it, you're just going to be recirculating toxins through your body. Starving yourself, doing things like just drinking maple syrup with lemon juice. All of that stuff is really popular because it's easy, but you don't get results and they're not sustainable. So what we like to do is just say, hey, like, where are you at? If you're not ready for a cleanse, maybe just try some whole food meal plans and just try eating real food first. If you feel like you're ready for a cleanse, sure, go for it, but listen in along the way. And so I guess that's the whole point, is really not doing the cookie cutter approach of just, well, work for this person, so it's going to work for me. Yeah. Right. Using real food, herbs, things like that. And of course, we have women who want to do a cleanse, but then they also want to go work out for 2 hours a day. And that is not going to get you results. So it's really about looking at your entire lifestyle. It's the holistic approach. Our bodies were designed to detox, but we just have to support that. So
we need a lot more support with that. And it's one of those things where, these fad diets and these fad cleanses and the box detoxes you see on the store shelves that, sell like wildfire, because they're marketed extremely well. A lot of people don't get the holistic lifestyle aspect. And so they think, I'm going to go out and I'm going to binge drink on the weekends. I'm going to have fun with my friends. I'm going to party my ass off. And essentially just, I can do this cleanse and voila, all of a sudden now I am healthy. I am all good again. And they can just go back to that as like this cure all, right? Which is not how the body works. It's just more sustainable. If you want sustainable, optimal health, you really need to commit to a lifestyle that doesn't have to be hard or crazy or anything like that. Yeah. But the simple thing is, if you just eat real food, your body knows what to do.
Real organic food,
it's like when you eat real food, like your body just recognizes it, just knows what to do. Yeah. And you don't have to worry about these fillers and these crazy pills and all the different stuff that you don't understand on the stuff. It's like, no, I know where this food grew. I know where it came from. And your body's like, oh yeah, I know what to do with this. So, let's detox and let's just start to optimize health overall.
Yeah. And we totally, we love herbalism. We're, privately like superfood freaks. Like we're into all of that stuff. We're just really, really, intentional about quality, but we also just know when we're working with people who maybe don't have the budgets for that, it's like, it's not necessary. It's fun.
Yeah.
You can get a lot done with a few select herbs and some really great real whole food. So
cool. That sounds like a tease to me. Are there any, you want to do like your top few herbs that are actually useful?
Well, useful for what? Do you have anything in specific in mind? Because there's,
All right, so let's do some for people who might already be experienced with like eating real food, and then maybe one or two for people who like haven't really made that commitment yet.
Okay. Well, I'll let Caleb go into his. I'd say for me, just because I'm really into helping women optimize their hormonal balance, I really love. I'm learning just more about the benefits of holy basil actually all of the time.
I just ordered some today. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, what's awesome about holy basil that I just learned? Caleb's like, oh yeah, I knew that already. It was like, I didn't know.
Typical guy.
Well, holy basil is really awesome for helping change the way your body adapts to stress. So, which is really great for all of us. Stress is all around us, even when we're unaware. We're mostly under stress all the time. And for adrenal fatigue and all of those things, it's great. People commonly, promote it for weight loss, but the only reason that you're going to lose weight, I think, using holy basil is because it's reducing your stress levels, right? But it also helps detox heavy metals and things like that, which I thought was just so cool. So holy basil is awesome. And then I personally really load up on astragalus root. I take liquid phytocaps of astragalus. I pretty much just take like 4 to 6 to 8 a day. You only really need to take 2. And again, it helps. It's an adaptogen. It helps, your body adapt to stress. It prevents you from getting the cold and the flu. And, this year it was awesome. Everyone around us was getting sick. And I was just like, Caleb, I'm not getting sick. I'm popping this astragalus. And I felt great all through the cold and flu season. And I really attribute part of that to obviously getting enough sleep, but the astragalus as well. So those are like my top 2, I would say, that almost anyone can use that you don't have to worry about really overdosing on. And there's not a lot of contraindications. So those are safe bets.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many good ones, man. For me, like doing a lot of stuff I do in the, kind of what I call like the holistic biohacking space, essentially,
I love that.
Your body with the natural supplements and herbs and things like this are, basically like for building muscle and for, guys in fitness. My top kind of go-to ones are pine pollen. It's one of my favorite ones.
Just ordered some of that yesterday too.
Great minds think alike, right?
Yeah.
It's awesome stuff. It's just one of those things where I'm playing around with the difference between the precursors to your body's natural testosterone production versus the phytoandrogens, or pine pollen's essentially a mimic of testosterone, a plant-based mimic. So it's really amazing to help supplement getting your body back into the production mode. When we did this raw vegan experiment for 2, almost 3 years, and my testosterone tanked after a while because I wasn't getting the proper healthy fats. My body doesn't really genetically produce and transform the fats in my body that I need to from plant-based fats. So, I switched, get some animal fats in there, and the testosterone boosting from the pine pollen completely changed the game for me. But after a while, there's something just for you to be aware of too. And anyone that works with pine pollen is it's totally good and safe to take for a while. Just preferably when you're at least 25 or older. You don't want to mess with your hormone levels below a certain age, because that can actually throw off your basically your genetic expression for hormone production in the future. And then basically just be careful with the whole, what I call short fuse syndrome, because sometimes with the phytoandrogens, specifically the pine pollen, you can get that short fuse syndrome where you'll have the testosterone boost. So in the gym, man, it's amazing because you get to use that energy and really put that sort of, aggression into your workouts, which gets you great results. But if you're not using that energy, it gets kind of pent up. And it can kind of get you that little short fuse syndrome that I call it there. So there's some really amazing precursors to testosterone, which I've been playing with, that have the benefits of the testosterone boosting, but it doesn't come with a short fuse syndrome, right? And one really great one I love is from Onnit Labs. It's called T+, and it's a really great precursor set to that. So
you guys are hilarious. I was just at Onnit Labs like last week, hanging out with all the dudes there.
It's awesome.
But anyway, keep going.
On their bottle, it's like just add squats,
Yeah,
and it's,
yeah, totally.
I love the marketing. So that's a really good one. And then with that, I also love colostrum.
Yeah.
As well as, elk antler essence. Elk antler is a phenomenal HGH booster. great to take at night. It's amazing for recovery.
Mm-hmm.
It's those kind of three, the pine pollen, the elk antler, and the colostrum, are what's really been helping me pack on a lot of lean muscle over the past, past 6 months to a year or so. So those are some top ones. And then, trying to think.
Those ones are good. You don't have to even keep that rolling. I am just
load their shopping cart here since they're good.
Those are really, really solid combo, especially for guys.
Yeah.
And the colostrum can be used by anyone.
Yeah, it's worth saying that those are kind of like the premium ones, so they are more expensive. But if you find that you have the money to play with on supplements like that, they are powerful stuff. The first time I tried deer antler, I didn't necessarily like need it, but of course I wanted to like see what would happen if my testosterone went up. And like I took it for a couple days, maybe it was about a week, and then I just like broke out and was angry all the time. Like I felt like a teenager. It was like preposterous. But I wasn't expecting it to work that well. So that's another thing. When you go back to the way that was used in kind of like Eastern therapy, I was talking to a few practitioners about it, and they're just like, yeah, it's not about like constantly stacking up your testosterone or vice versa. It's more about like getting to a place of balance. So if you find you're the type of person who's rocking the house anyway, you might not need this stuff necessarily. But that said, I find that, I don't really use it all the time. Colostrum, sometimes I will, but it's during those times of like high stress where you really need to perform, and like for whatever reason you're traveling or you're not getting good sleep. Adaptogens and a testosterone boost can definitely help you fight through the dip and lean into it and just keep on rolling till you get to the other side, and then you kind of like relax and you can cycle in some other supplements and herbs at that point. But I totally love that approach, because that's something that you put on top of a healthy lifestyle anyway, right? It's not like that magical pill. I love what you guys said about commitment, because I think a lot of people are just like, hey, I want to lose 100 pounds by just juicing. But like you said, it's really not that easy. So can you take us through the path of what a healthy cleanse might look like for someone who does have, say, 100 pounds to lose?
Yeah.
What does it look like from the beginning to the end?
Well, there's many ways. So just a little disclaimer, there's many ways to cleanse. So I'm not saying that the way that we're doing it is the only way.
Yeah.
But through Young and Raw, the way that we choose to take people through cleanses, there's a few ways. So we have one that's just a meal plan, essentially, which is like 30 days of eating real food. And this is for somebody who's coming from extremely processed diet. They rarely ever cook at home. They eat fried foods. They're eating refined sugar. So in that case, going to a juice cleanse, like I said, that's going to be a little bit too much, right? So we start with just real whole foods. So we're talking like all organic. Our meal plans are vegan, so they don't have any animal products, but we do have a naturopath who comes in and teaches. Essentially, she just gives like a little 40-minute interview on, if you want to add animal foods in, here's how to do it responsibly and respectfully and healthfully, of course, right? So we do like plant-based meal plans where we're starting off the day with a juice or a smoothie. We're doing lots of water, and then we're doing, big green salads. We're doing lots of, steamed veggies, very minimal grains, things like that. Seaweeds are awesome for anyone who's detoxing. So that's one of the stages. And then we also have, our raw food detoxes, which where you're starting off with like more raw foods. You're doing the green smoothies, you're doing the juices, you're doing the raw salads and the yummy wraps and a little bit of berries and things like that. And then still we're adding in like things like seaweed tea, because seaweed is just so amazing. There are some people who can't actually use all that roughage, all that fiber from raw foods. So they tend to do juicing instead of doing smoothies. And we tend to recommend steam your veggies a little bit instead of eating them totally raw, because some people just can't handle it. It makes their intestines or their colon really painful. So seaweed is awesome because what it does is it not only draws toxins and radiation, heavy metals and everything from the body, but it acts in place of roughage. So it pulls those toxins through. So a lot of times when someone's detoxing, what happens is that those toxins actually get kind of stuck or trapped in the small intestine when they're going out. And then what happens is instead of exiting the body, it recirculates, and that causes the really bad headaches and the detox problems and just the negative side effects, right? And so what seaweed does is it kind of just helps move things along and helps flush and sweep the inside of the small intestine and flush it out more gently. So we definitely focus a lot on foods that can act really powerfully during the detox. And then of course, we do have a lot of things like cruciferous vegetables, which are so important for phase 1 and phase 2 detox. And just making sure that you're getting enough nutrition, enough fat, enough protein, all of that stuff, to be able to support your body. And then of course we focus on the lifestyle. So we do say, if you're going to do this cleanse, you need to commit to actually honoring your body and taking a rest. Mm-hmm. You need to commit to not going and doing CrossFit or going and doing your hardcore weight training while you're detoxing, because that's stirring up free radicals too. And your body's already trying to process all this stuff that's coming up. So mm-hmm. we focus more on, the whole picture. So we have lifestyle routines, we have gentle movement routines. We focus on the Ayurvedic approach as well in our new detox. We have yoga routines that are specifically designed for detox. We have special baths that you can take, skin brushing, oil pulling, and then eating a healthy diet. And, the foundation is if you want, you can just eat real food. If there's something on the menu you don't like, mm-hmm. you don't have to force yourself to eat stuff you don't like. That's not how eating real food works, right? So yeah, that's the basic approach.
Cool. What would you guys say to someone who says that they're not toxic?
I would say, in what sense?
So if they're just like, yeah, I probably have some toxins, but I don't think so. I feel fine. In a lot of cases, this is totally a leading question now, but but in a lot of cases, people will feel fine and won't know that they can get better. Mm-hmm. Most of us have a huge toxic load, no matter, where we live or how cleanly we eat, et cetera. So why is that important? What happens afterwards? Like how can you explain to someone the benefits if they already feel fine?
It's hard to explain the benefits, and that's why we offer so many different programs. So we have free 30-day green smoothie challenges where you don't have to pay us anything, and mm-hmm. We put a lot of love and energy into just giving you that experience. We have free meal plans on our Facebook page where you can just come in and give it a try. And I'm sure you've encountered this, and a lot of people listening have encountered this. It's, if you try to explain to somebody how awesome it feels to eat this way, until they've tried it, they don't know, because a lot of us are walking around thinking, well, I'm doing just fine. But once you try it, once you actually just switch over into a more holistic lifestyle, you're not drinking the booze, you're not going out and partying and trashing your body, you're going to bed at a decent hour, you're eating food that's organic, it's not sprayed with those pesticides, mm-hmm. you're not having those crashes. It's something that you just have to feel to experience it. So I just invite everybody to give it a shot, and whatever it looks like for you. It doesn't have to be a hardcore raw vegan diet or a hardcore paleo diet. It can look like anything, but the basis is, give yourself a challenge. Try eating nothing but real food for 3 to 7 days. And then you tell me, how good you feel compared to how good you felt a week ago. And guaranteed you're going to notice it's different. And that's the cool thing is why would we want to settle? Right? It's you wouldn't want to do that in other areas of your life for the most part. Mm-hmm. So why would you want to settle with, oh, I feel fine? Why don't you want to feel even better? Yeah. Right? That just doesn't make sense to me. So we're all about achieving awesomeness and optimizing our lifestyle and being the best we can be for others as well. So yeah.
There's so many things people have no idea are bombarding them. The internet, Wi-Fi waves that are going through, all the electrical pollution if you live in a modern area. If you live where cars drive around, you've got particles floating in the air you can't see, but you breathe in. Our bodies are amazingly adaptable, but a lot of the challenges we're facing, I've even seen people that are trying their best to eat real food and they just can't figure out how to detox properly or how to lose weight. Yeah. I don't know what's going wrong. I don't know what's going, why this isn't working for me. And no matter where you are, unless you're in the most pristine elements on the planet with the best food and the best water in the universe, you're going to have some toxins in you, and it's if people fall into these cognitive traps, these cognitive biases, essentially, where oh yeah, I feel fine, or if they see everyone around them and they see this average level of what they believe to be healthy, they don't know what optimal health really is. And until they experience something that either, what I've noticed, takes them to one extreme or the other. Either they start feeling really, really terribly bad and man, I have, there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of suffering here, I need to change something. Yeah. That usually calls people to action, to do something different, as well as the opposite end where they experience something. Let's say they come over to a friend's house and they have some superfoods and some really great, whole food meals, and they leave just vibrating oh my God, I feel so amazing. Yeah. Right. And that's one thing we love to do with dinner parties and stuff, is introduce people to these things. Sure. We'll make blue magic lemonades and we'll make all these different amazing superfood infused dishes and things like that. And so people leave like literally high on food, and that is totally achievable. And once they experience that, it's really tempting. They don't really want to go back. So they do whatever they can to discover that more in their own lives.
Awesome. So you guys kind of hinted at being excited about a few like superfoods or whatever. What are you into right now? What gets you stoked? Because I know for me, every few months I have to be into something new and different. It's probably pretty similar for you guys.
Mm-hmm. I mean, really, like right now, I would have to say like my number one superfood is seaweed.
Nice.
It really is.
Which kind? I meant to ask before.
I love wakame a lot. So we get some fresh wakame from the farmer's market. A guy actually just goes down to the ocean and forages it. It's just incredible. And I put it in broth in the morning. I put it in soups. I put it in pretty much anything that I could possibly put it into. And like, that's my personal reframe on superfoods as well. Just as a note is, pretty much most of the foods like broccoli and seaweeds and stuff, like those are actually superfoods, right? Like broccoli helps like your body detox excess estrogens and things like that. Like that's pretty incredible. And seaweed, like I already said, it's just, it's known to protect women from so many different female cancers. I have a friend, she runs like Harmonic Arts, this little herbal dispensary, and she's taught me so much about seaweed, and I love what it can do for the body. So seaweed all the way.
Simple, abundant food.
Yeah.
For me, like I'm a huge fan of medicinal mushrooms. Have been for a long time. Reishi, chaga, cordyceps, maitake, agarikon. Lion's mane. Lion's mane is an amazing one. They've actually been doing a lot of studies on it. I believe at Harvard actually, around its effect on neurogenesis, enhancing neurogenesis, or the creation and regrowth of brain cells and neural networks in the brain. Specifically for Alzheimer's patients. So taking this over time, has an effect on the brain. And that's, to me, it's one of the core areas. It's our dashboard of what creates our reality around us and helps us interpret everything from this 5 sense reality we live in. Yeah. So when you get to optimize the brain, you get to optimize the body. And when you go through that whole process, modulating the hormones, whether it's through working out, whether it's through getting amazing sleep, doing things like, for example, heart rate variability training. One of my favorites is flotation therapy. People should totally look into that. These are things that help you like rest and recover. So they're not directly a food, but I always share them because it's something that almost anyone can do at some level. If you don't have a float tank near you, just breathe. We breathe all the time, but we're not very conscious of it. It's something simple and free and easy that everyone can do. And then for the superfoods, I mean, we get pretty out there, like, Ormus gold and, pure black shilajit resin. And, we get some really crazy stuff. The E3 live blue magic, which is
that would be a whole another year of talking.
Yeah, but the medicinal mushrooms are really, really great, easily accessible one that most people could find. And find good quality ones.
Chaga and reishi, they're wicked.
And cordyceps for athletes, cordyceps really helps boost endurance and helps in recovery. And also modulates a little bit of ATP production. So when you take it, it's one of the things that really helps you amp up to the next level when you're working out hard.
Right on. That's awesome. Yeah. A few months ago, I was back. I grew up in New Hampshire and I was with my folks and they got really into finding mushrooms behind the house. And we came back with just huge amounts of chaga and like this gorgeous lion's mane. And actually you can, if you want to, and you are someone who cooks, my dad sauteed it up in a bit that I believe is the lion's mane and a bit of butter, and it was just unreal how velvety it was, and it was really delicious. So you're kind of getting the benefits of the medicinal or semi-medicinal properties of it while eating a delicious food, and it doesn't get much better than that. So that's pretty cool. Now, we are coming up on time, but I wanted to make sure that we covered this too, because I haven't heard this term before, like holistic biohacking. But that's, I mean, Dave Asprey and I are good friends. He's been on the show a bunch, and as well as Tim Ferriss and some other like biohacking people. But unfortunately, like, biohacking also includes the people who are literally like opening up their arms and like putting cell phones inside of them essentially, and they're calling it biohacking or whatever. So can you define what that means to you, like the holistic approach to biohacking?
Yeah, totally. I was actually at a fitness conference with Tim a few years ago, helping with his book launch of 4 Hour Body. And it was really fun getting to geek out on this whole thing. And a lot of times we're discussing these things about the different spectrum of biohacking. And like you said, there's the people installing magnets and chips into their arms and things like that, which is one kind of variation on the spectrum. Although with me, like, Leonardo da Vinci was one of my all-time favorite geniuses, and his view of this holistic world we live in, this system where you have the macro and the micro, and you have a lot of things that out in the universe and the world look really big and amazing. But when you look in the inside of the body, it's almost the same pattern, right? Sometimes exactly the same pattern. This just really triggered me to think more about nature's principles. And so, that's one of the things I actually started searching for this is like holistic biohacking, because I have friends who are biohackers, but they're doing things, they're using Adderall and modafinil, they're using all these different synthetics and pharmaceuticals, which for some people can be total life changers. Although I know from my experience, my liver doesn't detox things very well. So I can't do those things, nor do I wish to do those things. So, with the holistic approach, I just figured out like, hey, let's put holistic and biohacking together, right? And let's just do some tests if you can, find out where you are, kind of use some of the quantified self movement, use sleep tracking apps if you can, do blood tests, do hormone panels, whatever it is that you have within your reach. And when you know these things, you can augment things and see your progress over time and continually push yourself to the next level in a healthy and sustainable way. And for me, I'm playing the long game, right? It's about, in my perspective, it's about playing chess versus playing checkers.
Yeah.
Right. It's the more long-term strategic game. And when you're using these synthetics, a lot of times it can be very detrimental to your kidneys, to your liver. It can have unnecessary side effects and really undesirable side effects for a little short-term boost of whatever it is you're going for, because optimizing performance is kind of the goal of biohacking. But yeah, for me, man, I just want to live a long time and be the most optimized self I can be, so I can enjoy the world as best I can. And so I can also help others, share and teach with others, and just really help other people live, because we can live a really long time, I mean, our bodies are designed for this. So if we just allow them to do what they do naturally, and I just love the holistic approach, of understanding like we live in a macrocosm and we are a microcosm within a macrocosm. That holistic biohacking approach is just one of those things where it just works really well. It might take a little bit of time to feel or see the results, like with herbs or supplements or superfoods. So it may not be an instant hit, but we as a species, I believe, really need to get over that instant gratification of like, we just need this now. Yeah, we in the West.
Right.
Just be patient, and you just commit to that long game, and the results are just astounding. They're really fun.
Awesome. So we just have a quick second left, but I am really excited. We just partnered on an app with you guys about juicing and challenges. Can you talk a little bit about how you built that, why you put it together that way? Because I think it's a really interesting approach. And as long as you're doing cleansing in a healthy way, it can be a really cool thing. If you're just not really committing and saying, oh, I'll take some pills and not eat for a while, then maybe it's not the best plan for you. But like, you guys put together a really like structured program, but it's also customizable, so you can add in your favorite types of foods too. So can you talk about that a little bit before we go?
Yeah, well, I mean, gratitude to you and your team for helping us put it together, and big gratitude to our team as well. Our nutritionist and our life coach and all that, they helped us put this together as well. And essentially what it is, it's a 14-day green juice challenge. So like I said before, we really realized that, wherever someone is starting at, there are really high leverage things that you can do to, impact your health. And what we found was adding in a green drink at the start of every day made a huge difference, not only for how you feel, your energy levels, your weight loss, things like that, but also for your cravings. If you start your day off with something really nourishing, you just feel so good that you don't want to kill that high by putting something crappy in. So we thought, hey, let's put together a 14-day juice challenge, and you're not juicing the entire time. Okay, so you're waking up, and your goal is to have one green juice every single day for 14 days, or purple juice or whatever, you're juicing vegetables here. And so, it's just, you wake up and you have a juice a day. And if you want to have more, that's cool too. But it's just something that you can do to challenge yourself to build a habit and get into a routine of feeling good. And chances are, if you start off with that juice, you're going to be making healthy choices throughout the rest of the day. We found it's very high leverage, and we have people all over the world joining us for these challenges. And they're getting amazing results, better than we ever thought would be possible, simply from making that one small change. So it's just one of those high leverage ways for us to help make a positive impact.
Love it. Love it. And you guys, right now it's on iPhone and iPad, and you guys can find it. When in doubt, we didn't memorize the bit.ly or anything, but when in doubt, just type in Fat Burning Man into the App Store and it should come out. It should come right up. So thank you both. Before we go, why don't we tell folks what you're working on right now and where they can find you?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're working on a lot of stuff behind the scenes. We have a few ebooks coming out. We have a new 14-day beauty detox that's being released. And so you can find us at yemenraw.com. And that's the best place to check us out for just checking out our upcoming programs, all of the free content we have on there. And then, of course, give us a like on Facebook, which is facebook.com/youngandron. We're always there interacting. Our nutritionist and our life coach are always answering your questions on the wall. So come say hi.
Killer. You guys are awesome. Shalina and Caleb are at youngandraw.com. Thanks so much for coming on, guys.
Thanks so much, Abel.